Did Square Enix nerf Black Mage's AoE even more in Endwalker? Let's talk about it. So if you've seen my last video, you'll know that I'm not a huge fan of how they updated the AoE skills for Black Mage in Endwalker. They made the AoE rotation longer and clunkier. They also added an enhanced flare system that seemed to have several flaws. Additionally, they nerfed Black Mage's AoE polyglot spender, Foul, not only by reducing the upfront potency, but they also made the damage fall off higher. Well, Endwalker may be delayed by another 2 weeks, but we do have some new information that we can speculate on based on the most recent letter from the producer live. Firstly, let's talk Foul. During the live letter, Yoshi P was showcasing a few minions that were being added for Endwalker. Of course, him being a Black Mage main, he was on the job at the time. However, he did manage to hover over a few tooltips, most notably the Foul tooltip, which seems to have been updated since the media tour. So just as a reminder, here's what Foul currently looks like in Shadowbringers. It's a 650 potency ability with 25% fall off to all remaining enemies. On a 2-target fight, this is a 387.5 potency gain over Xeno. In the media tour build, Foul's initial potency is 600, which is a 50 potency nerf. It's also been updated to 50% fall off from 25%. So on a 2-target fight, this is a 200 potency gain. Now in the most recent live letter, it seems like Foul has been further nerfed to 580 potency upfront, still with the 50% fall off. So now this is a 170 potency gain over Xeno. So yeah, kind of a weird change, right? They already made Foul weaker than its Shadowbringers incarnation during the media tour, so I'm not sure why they might be nerfing it again. Of course, these numbers are not final, but it's fun to speculate since we don't really have anything else to do for a month. I can kind of understand their direction on nerfing Foul in general. With it being an instant cast, there isn't much of a decision-making process anymore for when you would use Foul over Xenoglossy. Currently in Shadowbringers, you have to make a trade-off. You gain significant potency by using Foul over Xeno in 2-target phases of fights like Epic of Alexander Phase 1 and Phase 2, but you also lose the movement and weaving capabilities of Xenoglossy. In that sense, being able to use Foul strategically rewards players for good pre-positioning. However, this decision-making process won't really be a thing anymore when you're at level 80 and above, and Foul is instant cast in Endwalker. It's just a simple, are there more than 2 targets? Let's use Foul instead of Xeno. Maybe they did some internal checks and found that Black Mage was doing too much damage within the new fights? Who knows? Anyways, let's cover the next change, which is actually a bit more interesting because we don't really know what it is. Remember Enhanced Flare? It came from Highfire 2 when used in Astral Fire. This buffed the potency of your next flare cast within 30 seconds by 40, and it stacked twice. I mentioned in the last video that I wasn't thrilled by this change, because they nerfed Flare only to give the potency back with Highfire 2, making Flare optimization in 2-target fights meaningless since it became a potency loss over Despair. However, luckily for us, Yoshi P demonstrated some Black Mage gameplay during the live letter test stream the day before the actual live letter. During this test stream, we can see that he is clearly just using High Blizzard 2 a few times into High Fire 2 and repeat. But do you notice anything different? Firstly, High Fire 2 only seems to grant Enhanced Flare once when it's first used in Astral Fire. Notice the Enhanced Flare buff on his buff bar? It also doesn't have a duration anymore. Second, when he leaves Astral Fire, he immediately loses the buff. Third, they mentioned this in the actual translation.
エディア2だからね、結構アクションいじってはいたりするんで。
あ、そうなんですね。
あんま見せない。
よかった。
Kind of tricky because we've actually made more adjustments to these actions after the media tour, so we can't really show too many, like we can't test out too many without spoiling it for you guys.
So there could be a number of possibilities for what has actually changed here. Some examples I can think of could be, number 1, Enhanced Flare might function the same, being a potency buff to your flares, but it could just be a buff that you keep now in Astral Fire. This would make triple or quadruple flares with Mana Font or Ethers all enhanced, which would be a quality of life change over the Mediator functionality that I did bring up in the last video. Another change it could do is it could make your flares instant cast or cost less mana or use no hearts, but we really don't know since he didn't cast Flare once. What do you think Enhanced Flare does now? Let me know in the comments section down below.